We'll start off the Hamilton series with a review of the operations. We'll look at the buttonology and exterior overview, interface and modes, a new circuit setup, pre-ops calibration, and some caveats and tips. Hamilton T1 boot up. Power button, hold for 1 second. Let's review the Hamilton T1 operational interface. This top bar is the alarm light. There are two color options, yellow and red. Yellow is the low priority and red is the high priority alarms. This is the power button. Here is the battery indicator for charge lights. They'll either blink green or be solid when they're charged. This is the daytime night operation screen. The lock screen button. When ventilating, this will do an instantaneous hold. This will increase the oxygen percentage to 100% for 2 minutes. If you have a USB attached, this will do a screenshot when pressed. This is the nebulizer button, and this is the alarm silence button. As it says here, it does a 2-minute alarm silence, and this is the magic wheel. Next, this is the battery door. It's magnetic, simply pull to release. We have 2 batteries in all of our Hamilton T1s. This is the fixed battery and this is the removable. If you flip this door, you're able to remove the battery, and you'll see here, battery 2 will go out. These are hot swappable, meaning that if the ventilator is on or off, if it's ventilated or not ventilating, you're able to swap the batteries. Additionally, the batteries that we have an indicator light for the amount of charge. Press in, door back down. Again, it's magnetic. On the left side of the ventilator, on top here is the USB for downloading cases and screenshots. This is the high pressure oxygen inlet. This is the low pressure oxygen inlet. We don't use this. This is the connection for the AC, like plugging into a wall. This is the inlet for the DC. We don't use this. And this port here is for cooling. We do not want to block the cooling port. For the back of the ventilator, starting on the top right, this is the LAN port. We don't use this. This is the air intake port. Do not block this. This is how the ventilator mixes the 100% oxygen with the outside air to be able to blend to get the appropriate FiO2. It's worth mentioning that there is a removable filter here. This is missing. Please inform your supervisor. On the right side of the ventilator, on top here we have the nebulizer port. These 2 ports are the color-coded lines for the flow sensor. This is the main circuit. The top one is the inhalation port, and the bottom is the exhalation port. Behind the exhalation line is the exhalation valve. You can interact with the interface in 2 ways. Simply by touching, or you can cycle around with the magic wheel. In order to adjust the values, you must use the wheel. For mode selection, the modes button is here on the top right on the screen. Select and it pops up. This is vertically oriented. So see in the white, it says volume controlled adaptive. These are the volume modes. And then pressure controlled biphasic. These are the pressure modes. Intelligent ventilation is just the ASV mode, the automated mode. And then the bottom here is non-invasive, meaning that they are not intubated. So CPAP or BiPAP. We'll review how to install a new circuit. So for orientation again, top here is nebulizer. These are the 2 color-coded lines for the flow sensor, inhalation port, and this is where the exhalation valve goes, and the exhalation port is on top of that. So when you get a circuit, it's like this. I recommend taking off the exhalation valve, making sure that this diaphragm is seated on this. So it easily comes off. Make sure that it's seated. It's a quarter turn. So it goes in only one way, and then it turns and locks. You don't need a lot of force to lock it. You'll feel it. Next, for the main circuit, make sure it's pointing forward. It will install backwards like this. So always make sure that the output is coming forward towards the front of the ventilator. These are just press-on fittings. And then lastly, the flow sensor lines. They're color-coded, and it's just press fit. Let's review how to set up an inline nebulizer with the ventilator. This is the circuit, flow sensor. This tool allows you to do the flow sensor calibration test, inline in-tidal, HEPA filter. This is the T-piece that comes in the BVM to neb adapter kit, along with this 90-degree, and then the endotracheal tube. The reason it's set up this way is we have to prevent the medication from the nebulizer from getting pulled into the in-tidal and causing a failure. That's why it's in-tidal, then the HEPA filter, which will prevent the medication backflow. Tightness test. System. Test calibrations. Tightness. Tighten. Make sure that you have a green check mark and it's passed. For the flow sensor test, I recommend breaking the seal. Oftentimes it's pretty stuck from the manufacturing process. Make sure it's loose. Again, system, test calibrations, flow sensor. When it says turn flow sensor, you only have 4 seconds to make the turn. Turn sensor. Again, make sure there's a green check mark. After the ventilator has booted and self-checked, it always defaults to ASV mode. If you are not planning on using ASV mode, remember that on this screen it has a built-in ideal body weight calculator. So say the patient is 70 inches, select the patient height, 70, and it will calculate your ideal body weight for you. Remember to record this before changing modes. One caveat worth mentioning is, when the ventilator boots and it's ASV mode and you decided to change the mode, for this example, we'll use SimV volume. So we do modes, SimV volumes, volume mode SimV, confirm. This brings up the settings. You go in here and you adjust this to whatever you want it to be. If you do not hit confirm, this will default back and go into ASV mode. Let's watch. I'll speed it up. Another caveat. When you've reached your destination and you're getting ready to transfer the patient from your ventilator to the other one, and you're ready to turn this ventilator off, you must first press the power button, tap, and then select standby. If you do not, and try to hold the power button down, it will not turn off. So again, tap the power button, and then hit activate standby. For the new circuit calibration and tests, it's only required once per circuit, meaning you use the circuit, you get a new one when you back to base, you do the calibrations, and you leave it. It's not required for daily checks. Last thing, on the settings test calibration menu, on the bottom there's an O2. That's only to be done if the ventilator tells you to do it. It'll give an alarm during use saying O2 calibration needed. You do it at room air at 21%, and that's it. This concludes the Hamilton T1 operations video.